YouTubers, welcome to our fourth episode of C# Learn the Right Way series. We are going to be talking about while loops. As previously discussed, we were discussing a for loop and how there you started off with creating some index, and you had set it equal to your base number being 0, and then test a condition while x is less than 10 or whatever, and then you want x to I to increment every time it loops, and basically would go through. Well, a while loop is very similar. The only difference is that its intention is to cycle or iterate as well, but it's not normally through a collection of data like before. We had that array of integers that we cycled through. It's more along the lines of, well, let's keep running this until some condition is met. So let's just say int, I don't know, x equals 10. So we're going to create a while loop, and we're going to say while x equals 10. So this loop will keep running indefinitely until while x is equal to 10, and only once something changes about x, then changes x to something other than 10, then only then it will stop. So just to give you an example, let's say x. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and just run this, and we're going to be stuck in an infinite loop because there's nothing that changes this x condition. So you can see our console is running, and it's just iterating over and over and over and over and over again. So I want to do something to actually change this. So let's say x equals 2. Okay, so basically how this will run, it'll run the first time because x will be equal to 10, and it's going to display x, and then we assign 2 to x, and then you'll notice that it should only run once because nothing ever sets back to 10, so it exits the loop and it is done. Now I'm going to add an additional counter, and every time this loop runs, I'm going to increment counter by 1. So counter is going to be equal to 0 the first time, and then 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. And I'm going to add some kind of logical test in here. So if counter equals 100, then we are going to change the value of x. X equals 1. So my understanding would be of this, that this while loop is going to keep running while x equals 10. We have this additional counter variable that starts off being equal to 0 and increments by 1 every time it loops through. So once the counter reaches 100, that should trigger this if statement to code block to run, and x will no longer be equal to 10. So let's go ahead and run this. You'll see, bam, we've got 10 written 100 times. Then finally our application exits and it's happy. So that's really a while loop. That's really a while loop in a nutshell. There are many situations where you could use a while loop instead of a for loop. It just depends on your situation at hand that you decide which better fits your need in that moment, and there's often times where a for loop will do a better job of that, and then there's other times where for loops are too straightforward, have too straightforward conditions to just to use, so you need a while loop, because as you can see we already have a nested if statement in here that performs some condition test every time it iterates. So this would be a good example where where a while loop would be necessary. Anyway, thanks for listening.